Hi, this is Tear Gas Jazz, the Swedish Kaizo noob, and welcome to this video where I will show you 20 things to avoid when making Kaizo levels in Super Mario Maker 2. These are setups I have encountered and even used myself over the years, but as they say, learning by doing. Remember, we were all new at some point in time, and learning is a big part of this game. There are no rules when making Kaizo levels. This is just a list of things I find annoying when playing levels in Mario Maker. So, without any further ado, let's jump straight to my list. These first 7 entries concern controlled shell jumps. If you don't know what a controlled shell jump is, it's a shell jump that never reaches the max height of a jump. Take a look at these 2 shell jumps. This becomes an issue during a lot of setups. Let's take a look at some of them. Number 1. If a wall you're throwing the shell at is too low, the shell will miss it completely. That will punish players who make full shell jumps. Number 2. This setup lets you jump on a Koopaling after a successful shell jump. However, if you're a maker who only does controlled shell jumps, this setup will not work as intended. Placing a muncher on block too low will cause the Koopaling to collide with it. Number 3. In a previous video, I've shown you how to de-cheese your levels using invisible blocks like this. This is a good method to stop the player from accessing the top of your level. It can be a problem though. A max jump might cause you to bonk your head. Take a look at this. Remove the blocks and make sure to de-cheese the surroundings. Number 4. There are many types of shell drops, but this is the most common one. Doing this with a controlled jump will give you a different result compared to a max jump. The shell will hit a different block and you will hit the shell at different locations. That might ruin a setup. Number 5. This is another shell drop technique. It's a good setup that lets you hit the same block every time. One thing that will change this is how low the ceiling is. If the ceiling is too low, the shell will bounce backwards instead. Number 6. Have you ever hit an off-screen spike? Yeah, me too. The double shell jump is a Mario Maker classic. Make sure to build a high enough wall so that it is enough for 2 max jumps. Take a look at these 2 tries. It gets even worse the more shell jumps you add. This is one of the reasons why you never put spikes off screen. Number 7. The Clam drop rose to popularity in 2021, but it's an old trick. A controlled Clam and a max Clam will have 2 different outcomes. The most common way to build this setup is this. Now take a look what happens if you build this using controlled jumps. Number 8. How close is too close? Well, that obviously depends. When doing a double shell jump, there are a few aspects to have in mind. One of which is spacing. If there's a bigger gap between the shells, you automatically carry more momentum. This will cause the shell you're throwing up to maintain some of that momentum. Look at this. As you can see, the shell will end up close to the wall. Either make the gap smaller or move the wall further away. Number 9. Let's look at the forward drop again. This setup can be tricky even if you use full jumps. It depends on when you drop the shell. One way to get around this is to stack 2 munchers like this. A muncher is vertically slightly shorter than a ground block, which makes this setup more consistent. Number 10. Here's an easy one. Don't put checkpoints below a vertical pipe, like this. The player might accidentally miss it. Number 11. Speaking of easy ones, one of my big pet peeves is waiting. If I have to wait at the start of the level over and over again, there's a big chance I'll give the level a blue heart. Don't waste our time. Number 12. Having the player enter the subworld at the start of the level is okay if you're making a vertical level where you have to use the subworld, but don't make us enter a pipe at the start of the level without any reason. It's just a waste of time. Number 13. This was in one of my previous videos as well, but it's worth saying. Having to wait for a shell at the start of the level is annoying. Make sure to give the player the shell as fast as possible. Here's an example. Number 14. We will continue with the start of a level. When making a level with a winter night theme, the ground becomes slippery. This will slow down your acceleration. I usually start these levels with a quick jump to gain momentum faster, because I'm an impatient bastard, I know. This will not work if you added the clear condition, reach the goal without landing after leaving the ground. That's annoying. Don't use that clear condition unless absolutely necessary when using the winter night theme. Number 15. Another big no-no in my book is unnecessary clear conditions. The text box that appears on screen every time you restart the level can be in the way of what's important. Make sure to not force the player to do a trick behind the text box. Number 16. A regrab is a trick where you pick up the shell on a knob block or on a spring. Kind of self-explanatory, right? This is a common trick, but it can be tricky to make it consistent. I wouldn't recommend setups like these. The timing of a reclaim or shell jump can be early, late, or just right. This will cause the setup to be inconsistent. You're basically forcing the player to do exactly what you did. Number 17. Seeing what's coming up is important when playing a level blind. It's like reading out loud. You are reading ahead of what you're actually saying. That is why you shouldn't stretch out your setups. It makes it hard to read the level when forcing the player to do long jumps with high momentum. Let the player see what's coming up next. Number 18. The donkey flip is a somewhat difficult trick and is rarely used. You have to do a back shot against the wall and then immediately turn right. You will catch up with the shell after a while. This trick is a bit inconsistent depending on how fast you press hard right, or how close the wall you are. Therefore you shouldn't add spikes too close. It is unfair to punish a player for doing a trick too good. Number 19. Level aesthetics is sometimes more important than you might think. Everyone's got their own taste and that's absolutely fine. However, don't make it too hard to read. Some backgrounds, semi-solids and items can overpower the actual level. Take a look at this. Which one do you think is easier to read? Number 20. Finally, we're here. Number 20. And this is an easy one. Don't use Toad. He's a mean moldy mushroom. So, there we have it, my list of 20 don'ts in Super Mario Maker. Thank you so much for watching. If you're still here, I will reward you with a face reveal in 3, 2, 1...